People can wake up tomorrow. They can wake up today and say, I'm a coach. I'm a self-identified coach. But there's something about getting credentialed, getting trained because you're dealing with someone's life and you don't want to put people's lives at risk. And so being there, being with a community, learning the technical skills that are required, that was a great investment.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Regin, and today's guest is Dr. Jones Bryant, an executive coach, leadership consultant, and global speaker known as the Ignite Your Fire leader. With over 30 years of federal leadership experience and a Fortune 100 career where she led associate experience, inclusion, and women's business resource group of 24,000 plus members, Jennifer brings a wealth of expertise in developing and retaining high impact, purpose-driven leaders. She is the founder of Reaching From Within, an empowerment journey where she equips leaders to break through ceilings, rediscover their inner power, and accelerate into executive success without compromising their core values. A retired government executive, corporate senior leader, board member, and author, Jennifer's work blends a strategy with inspiration to help leaders thrive at the next level. And it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for coming, Jennifer. I wanted to ask you about your coaching business. So I know we're focusing on working with, and we're going to dive onto the ideal client profile as well in a little bit. But when thinking about your coaching business, it's been around for more than 8 years, right?
Yes, a little over 8 years. Yep.
Cool. So what inspired you to start this? Given your experience is very interesting, what inspired you to start Reaching From Within an Empowered Woman journey, like your coaching business, and then become a leadership coach?
It was a combination of personal challenges as well as professional challenges. And I will say that as I was rising in my career, I was having to overcome significant losses of my family members, my immediate family members. So I was left, in terms of the nuclear family, I was the only one left. And so I had to figure out what legacy was I trying to build. But I also recognize as a professional, when I got to a certain level in my career, it was hard to, or quite challenging to get to that next level in leadership, meaning to that director level, to that executive level. And so that was the driving force behind launching my business. It was because I overcame personal challenges. I worked through professional challenges, and I'm like, I have frameworks, I have blueprints. I want to help others so they won't have to go through a lot of the challenges that I had to go through and still remain true to who they are, to their inner core, really staying true to their values and trying to identify work that matches and aligns with their values. So that's how I got there. But I also will share this is that while we talked about I've been in business over 8 years, I was running my business part-time while working full-time. So I became full-time in my business. October 4th will be a year.
Cool. And so I wanted to clarify also the ideal client profile, if we have the right people listening.
Yes.
We did mention on the intro that we're working with women, they're leaders. How would we specify it even further when it comes to the ideal client profile? Is it only women? Are they of a specific age, or do they have some specific common goals or other commonalities?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at career women, and I've even further it down to who my, avatar persona is. It's that woman, that mid-career woman who's 45 55 years old, and it could be like 40 to 55, to be honest with you. And it is the woman who's at the manager level, senior manager level, who's trying to make it to that director and higher level. And so that's my ideal client. It's that one who's trying to battle the workloads of office, also trying to battle the personal challenges at home. Is the woman who's trying to say, okay, I got to pay off these student loans, but I need a higher salary. It's that woman who's saying, I can't quit, I got to keep going, but I also don't want to burn out. That's my ideal client. And in a world where there are like tons of coaches, I've had to really niche it down to who my person is. And it even goes as far as underrepresented women of color. I'll go even further with that. So that I do service men. I do service men, you
Hmm.
know. I want to make that clear. Oftentimes I have to say that, like, hey, this is my core target market. I have serviced men in the past, and I've had men who have been great allies. So I want to make sure I put that out there.
Interesting. Yeah. And I found this with other coaches as well that have gone after women as their target market, but it actually meant that some men will also reach out to them. It doesn't mean that you cannot coach men. It just like happens that you are focused on women, maybe as like your niche. But yeah, thanks for clarifying that.
You can't take care of everybody. So you
Yeah.
have to narrow it down. Yep.
Yeah. And it helps marketing wise too. And we'll get to
Yes.
marketing too. But before we get to that, when we think about how you're working with these leaders, with these women or even men, how is the engagement like with them? How is it like to work with you? Is there a certain program of a certain length? How would you describe the engagement they have with you?
So the engagement with me it can look different for each individual. But I will tell you what I started in 2025 is a quarterly Women's Empowerment Alliance session. And so we meet up once a quarter, and we may do it more frequently, but this is just what has worked out in 2025. We meet up and I keep the group small, an intimate setting of no more than 14. And we meet on a Saturday and we go deep, we dig deep on topics. And most recently, this past Saturday, we did alliance. Me and my partner did an alliance. We had 14 ladies there, and we focused on the last straw and breakthroughs, and providing them transformative strategies on how to break through when challenges come up and they need to move forward. So
Hmm.
that's one way of engaging with me. Another way that folks have engaged with me, or can get engaged with me, I just launched my academy, Success Her Academy. And there's a course called Lead Hership Unlocked. And it's 6 modules. It goes through how to position yourself, how to strengthen your influence, and how to show up in order to get to the next. It's strengthening the competencies, and I'm revealing like the secrets that people won't tell them. And so it's all packaged up in a 6 module course.
And when it comes to these clients, and this is a question that other coaches are going to find useful, is what marketing channel do you see working really well for you? Is it LinkedIn? Do you see any certain marketing channel that's working very well?
It's, what's quite interesting, and I would say I always, and I forgot to share this, that I have one-on-one coaching as well. And
Hmm.
people can work with me with one-on-one coaching. The marketing strategy that has worked well, like where my folks usually hang out at typically is on Facebook. While I post on LinkedIn is more of my corporate area. That's where my corporate audience, where they hang out. When I'm trying to do business to business, business to corporate, that's where they hang out on LinkedIn. But my day to day woman, working woman, career woman, they're on Facebook. And that's how I'm able to do it. And the other piece, too, over the last 37 years, I've built a network. And so I'm able to reach within my network through emails, through personally contacting people, phone calls, and texts.
Right now, so LinkedIn for the businesses and the corporate clients, and you also have a big network as well. Right now, when thinking about the coaching business that you have, looking to the future for the next 1 to 3 years, do you have any specific goals that you're working towards? Some specific business goals?
I do. First and foremost, as I had mentioned, working part time in my business for 7 years and now full time for nearly a year, I would love to be able to bring on a staff member to help me as I'm trying to scale. Because you can't do everything. Like I'm leveraging AI in certain areas, but I want to be focused on, as they say, the big rocks,
Mm-hmm.
my big priorities, and not having to do everything.
And when you're saying scale, you're basically looking at growing not just in revenue, I believe, but actually like you want to be able to, that's why we want to hire, but you want to maintain more clients at the same time.
Yes, maintain more clients. I want to be able to scale my academy, Success Her Academy that I mentioned. I want to get more online courses up there because I like the fact that with the online platform, you don't have to be present for every class. So people can self pace. I'm available one on one if people need me for coaching, but I want to be able to scale that as well.
Cool. Amazing. And right now, just to change topics a little bit, when it comes to investments that you've done throughout the years within the coaching business, and maybe especially even on the recent year, what have been some investments that you've made that you feel really good about? Either you learned a lot or got a good return from, and these can be investments of time and money or both. What have been some investments that you don't feel so good about that you would have preferred to have avoided, if there's any of those as well?
That's interesting that you say that. So the investments that I felt really good about was investing in my craft, the coaching. So I'm connected to International Coaching Federation. I'm credentialed as a coach. As you know, people can wake up tomorrow. They can wake up today and say, "I'm a coach. I'm a self-identified coach." But there's something about getting credentialed, getting trained because you're dealing with someone's life and you don't want to put people's lives at risk. And so being there, being with a community, learning the technical skills that are required, that was a great investment. Investing in my change management, my former company invested in me getting a change management certification, which is incredibly important as you're talking about navigating change, especially in this last year. So those have been great investments, as well as my diversity certification from Cornell. That was amazing. Becoming a woman owned certified business has been worth the investment because of opportunities that comes from there, which is aligned with my vision and my mission and my target audience. Some investments, I will say, have not been as worth it, I should say, is some visibility. Because in our market, there's a lot of pay to play. So you got to invest in order to, become visible. And I'm not saying it's not worth it. Like going to networking events, all you need to meet is the right person or the right people, and it can yield a good ROI. But in some instance, it really wasn't worth it. Right. And so there are times, I get approached often. Oh, do you want to be in this magazine? What do you want to do this? You want to do this? A $2,500 investment? No, thank you. I'm not interested in that because that's not where I'm going. That's not my focus. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so those are other investments that you really have to be conscientious and just making sure that your investments is going towards where your target market, or really anchoring down on why you're doing these different investments, and making sure your decisions are based on intentionality and alignment.
And you're thinking about this the right way. Actually, we did research on this last year, and we found out that when it comes to investments, the best investment for coaches happen to be another coach. Like usually a coach would have another coach, because if you're selling coaching, you believe in coaching, you also get a coach for yourself. It gotta make sense if you want your clients to believe in coaching. So initially it could be a business coach, it could be a mindset coach. That has turned out to be one of the best investments. And a good point you bring out, when you think about training and your accreditation as well from ICF, that turned out to be the investment that had the lowest return, but not because we were looking at it from the point of view of getting a return from that investment. Actually, when you think about it, if you want to learn as a coach and be a better coach in general, it makes sense. Indirectly is going to get you more referrals and clients. But if you think that just having the title maybe on LinkedIn or just having that certification will yield new clients, that doesn't always happen.
That does not always happen. I'm glad you brought that up because mine has been super useful with working with, like, if I go to a corporate client, are you
Mhm.
certified? Yes, I
Yeah.
am. Let's see your credentials. Okay, here you are.
Yeah, it works, especially for companies, right?
Yes,
But
yes,
individuals will not know that.
right.
The individual clients will not know the certifications unless they've worked with coaches before and then they start being aware about their certifications. But you just don't know any better at the beginning. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And thank you for sharing that. So,
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about your goals as well, like working towards scaling your academy and like doing more online courses, and you're also thinking about hiring for help. Where do you see the challenges with your coaching business right now? I'm guessing it's capacity at this point, but what would you say is the bottleneck, the main bottleneck?
Capacity, I will say oversaturation, because there's just tons of coaches out there and there are people who've had bad experiences.
Hmm.
And so it's like if they have bad experiences with one or two, then they've come to the conclusion in their mind that all are bad, and that's not necessarily the case. So it's working through the noise and really having myself to stand out as I'm not them, I'm me. And here's some evidence of testimonials and other things. So yeah, in terms of challenges right now, like you said, is capacity. I would love to get more funding in as well, like I mentioned, to be able to hire more staff. But I understand that that may take a little bit more time.
Absolutely.
And right now, let me make sure I say this, I'm sorry, that I do hire according to projects. So if I have a conference or if I have a book project that may be coming up and I need surge capacity, I will do that. If I need other support, I do hire freelancers.
So at this point right now, are you thinking of like getting someone full time, kind of like a VA, or are you thinking for more associates, part time kind of?
Part time, I've had VAs before,
Hmm.
and it can be quite challenging to do it because I get into this process of if I have to explain everything, I might as well do it myself, right? And so I like when people can get in the rhythm of me. I know that there's a learning curve that comes, but I'm like,
Hmm.
just learn me, just learn me. And I've had the fortunate of hiring one of my daughters before she went off to college, and she got it. She got it. She got the rhythm. And I don't know if it's part of it because I am her mom, but
Yeah, definitely. The gene is there, so it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And you bring out the good point that there's one thing about hiring a VA, you have to think about the hours you have to put into training this person, unless you're hiring a VA that has worked with a coach before and might have already know kind of like what is it like to work with you, and you don't need to explain every little detail about the business that you're running. So right now, when thinking about scaling, as you're thinking about it too, there's a lot of coaches who want to scale their impact and are driven by impact. I believe that is kind of like the case with you as well, since you're working with leaders. What advice would you give to these coaches who are looking to scale their impact? And it could be actually an advice you give to yourself at this point.
you know what I will say? Focus on one thing and do it really well.
Hmm.
There's so many distractions. There's so many emails that I get throughout the day, and just weeding through those. Where should I have my focus? So if you anchor, I'm going back to what we talked about earlier. If you anchor on your big why, what you're trying to do, your purpose, the impact that you're trying to make, then you design your program or programs around that and just remain focused on that. And that's the only advice I have. That's what has really worked for me like this year. where I became really anchored down on mid-career women and trying to stand apart, more opportunities have attracted themselves to me because I became clear.
Mm-hmm.
Clarity is incredibly important because coach is such a general title, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you really need to niche it down to your target market.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I totally agree with you. We've had the same challenges before. It's like learning to say no to so many distractions out there will eventually lead to having a focus on what's actually working, what's actually going to move the needle
Correct.
faster for the business. So thank you so much, Jennifer. It's been lovely to have you on the show. For anyone who wants to connect with you or find you, they can go into LinkedIn, look up Dr. Jennifer Bryant. They'll be able to find your profile. And I believe we'll also put this on the description. There should also be a website, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Reaching within empowerment.
We'll put that in
Yes.
the description as well.
Yep.
So thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you for
You are
coming to the
so
show.
welcome.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.